Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Monday, November 28th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Families across Nova Scotia will soon be paying less for childcare. A $76 million contribution through the Canada-Nova Scotia Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Agreement was announced today.
Beginning on December 31st, we will be making a further reduction to childcare costs for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers in Nova Scotia, bringing the total average reduction for these families to 50%.
To put things in perspective, the reduction will mean families with an infant in licensed childcare will pay $23 less per day, savings that add up to about $500 a month and $6,000 a year. About 3,000 families who use Nova Scotia's childcare subsidy program will see their fees reduced to zero. The goal is for the Canada-Nova Scotia Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Agreement to get to $10 a day childcare on average for families by March 31st, 2026. The Nova Scotia Police Review Board hearing continued today, analyzing the complaint from Kayla Borden, who says she was wrongly arrested at a Windmill Road intersection in Dartmouth on the night of July 28, 2020. Borden, a 35-year-old black woman, says 6 Halifax regional police officers were involved in the stop. She was told to get out of her vehicle before she was handcuffed and arrested. The police were on the tail of a person who was driving without headlights and failed to stop when officers approached. When the officer who originally called in the offense, who wasn't one of the 2 arresting officers, arrived on scene, he immediately told police that they had the wrong person.
Why was I flooded by multiple police vehicles at a red light? And they're saying that they were looking for someone that was fleeing. I wasn't fleeing from anybody, knowing that there was no officers around me at that time.
Borden was released without being charged, but she and her lawyer are making the case this week that this arrest was wrong and likely would not have happened if Borden were white.
Really what happened here was Miss Borden here was wrongly arrested. She was surrounded by half a dozen police officers, a number of police vehicles, a very frightening moment, very late at night when she was just on her way home from visiting family. And it never should have happened. Really, these officers, when they showed up, why were they so quick to arrest her? Why couldn't they have waited for the officer who made the initial observations before making a decision? Because as soon as he arrived, he said it was the wrong vehicle.
The hearing is scheduled to continue Tuesday through Thursday. Next, to a remarkable woman in North Preston who has dedicated her life to being a mother figure to more than 100 foster children. Since the 1980s, Viola Kane has been fostering children, and some are still with her through their adult years. She says as long as her blood runs warm, she'll welcome them with open arms.
I started fostering in 1981. I got 3 little boys. I got one that I took in when he was younger. He had a lot of mental challenge with him, and he's still here with me. He's 41, and he's still here. And the doctor said that he wouldn't live to see 10 years old. But the Lord got him here, and he's now 41. And he's still here. This is my miracle child. And this is what encouraged me to go on. Jesus. Now he's 41. The Lord had blessed him to see his birthday for 41, and he keep me going. Oh, Jesus is the light. You got it? Light of the world. Oh. Department of Social Service, they had me down for 135, but then I had other siblings, that came in, and I took care of them. One of my foster kids, she had three boys, so I helped her. I took them in, and then I had other people with kids that wanted to come in, so I figured out to 150. And Christmas and Thanksgiving, but Christmas was a big important thing here. Christmas, they would get up at 5 in the morning, unwrap the gifts, everything all over the place. And then the big Christmas dinner. And then by that time, I was so tired I could fall asleep. But Christmas was very important. They want me to slow down. No, I'm still going. As long as my blood is run warm in it, I'm ready. ready, willing, and able to continue.
Spectators at Seaview Park in Halifax got a front row seat yesterday afternoon to watch the launch in the Bedford Basin of what will become HMCS William Hall. William Hall, the son of slaves, was the first black person, the first Nova Scotian, and third Canadian to receive the British Empire's highest award for bravery, the Victoria Cross, as a sailor during the Siege of Lucknow in May of 1857. This warship is the latest of Canada's new Arctic patrol ships. It will officially get its name at a formal christening ceremony. The Irving Shipyard-built vessel is over 100 meters long. Soccer fans are all eyes on Qatar as the FIFA World Cup is currently underway. Canada's first time in 36 years getting back to the Cup. Unfortunately, Canada became the second team to be knocked out of contention for the next round at the 2022 tournament with a 4-1 loss to Croatia in front of over 44,000 fans at the Khalifa International Stadium on Sunday. And one Haligonian who was in the stands is Carlos Benitez, originally from Peru but has been living in Canada for 15 years. He traveled all the way to Doha amongst an estimated 25,000 Canadians to catch the action.
I run into Canadians and they're like super nice. Like once you recognize a kid or even a Canadian Premier League jersey, they're like, oh, Canada. And they just like, you chat a little bit and then you go. It's kind of like that national team, they say brotherhood. I feel like there's even brotherhood to people that you don't know. As long as they recognize your jersey, you're there with them, you know?
Canada will conclude its tournament against Morocco on Thursday. It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with MLA Brendan McGuire about health care.
Are you moved at all by the fact the government says, yeah, we know things are getting better, but there's some areas we still need to work at?
Well, I mean, the what the public release was compared to the information that came out are two different stories. So what we heard from the government is that things are getting better, but what we actually saw from the numbers that I had originally asked for in public accounts, and we got them on Friday, was wait times at the IWK now are about eight hours. If you 6 to 8 hours if you take your kids into emergency, in a lot of cases more. That over 44,000 Nova Scotian youth walked out of the emergency room at the IWK without being served last year, without seeing anyone last year because of wait times. And the wait times at the QE2 emergency room are going up. And of course, the need a family doctor list has skyrocketed. It's almost doubled. So, what's happening here is that the government is picking and choosing. And like most governments do, obviously, but they were really picking and choosing some of the good stuff. But the actual on-the-ground experience for Nova Scotians, you could talk to anyone and it's getting worse and worse.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Here's part 2 of my conversation with the voice of the Cape Breton Eagles, Patrick McNeil, talking about where the Eagles are in the standings as we approach December. For someone like yourself that covers this team obviously so closely, when you looked at this team at the beginning of the year, where did you think they would be 20-plus games in?
Well, I projected, asked about this early in the year, that I thought the optimistic prediction would be that they could be a team that had an outside shot of battling Moncton for second in the division. And you look, Halifax is in first. That's what people expected. Then you have Moncton in second. I think what happened is the three teams that really loaded up last year, St. John, Charlottetown, and Bathurst, they all brought back enough pieces to be competitive, and the Eagles are still kind of trying to find their way amongst that group, but you can see the upward trajectory is starting to come. The game Thursday night against St. John, where St. John has those top guys coming back that can give them the win on a given night, but on the whole and in the long term, I feel like the Eagles will be ahead of those teams. I think in the standings, the team is probably behind where they should be, but in terms of what we're actually seeing on the ice in recent games, I think it's more mirroring what the expectations should have been. And that, to me, is a team that will be in the mix for home ice in the East. To answer the question more directly, in the standings, they're probably not where they should be, but based on what I've seen on the ice, I think that they'll end up where they could be, and that's, I think, battling for home ice in the playoffs.
In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Oh, game saver, Shields gets the puck. Shields coming over.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the forecast. We're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, after some wet weather this morning, we were drying out this afternoon here in HRM, and there is some sunshine to talk about in the forecast before more wet and windy weather returns. This evening, it will be cloudy. We'll have a chance of showers or drizzle, and as temperatures drop, a chance of flurries. We'll be near 3 degrees this evening, but we wake up near -4 on Tuesday morning. As you wake up, though, it will be a mix of sun and cloud, but a northwest wind tonight into tomorrow morning, 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Into the afternoon, lots of sunshine, but only heading up to a high of about 0 in Halifax. There is another bright day in store for our Wednesday. Much of Wednesday looking fair, but a strong and powerful frontal boundary will be on the way Wednesday night into Thursday. That is going to deliver some heavy rain here for us in Halifax, along with very strong winds, and that's something I will update on over the next few days. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at SaltWire Today. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.